Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Russ Curtis, teaching a counseling program, licensed clinical mental health professional, counselor, and I just want to talk about the Big Five, or the five-factor model, which you see and you read a lot about, and to just kind of briefly go over what this is and what it means. So this is not a theory. So unlike the Keirsey type indicator, both are very similar, they're highly correlated. That was based on a theory of personality from Carl Jung, if not before then, but that's typically what it's attributed to. The five-factor model is based on the lexical hypothesis that if there is any meaningful personality trait or behavior, that we humans have created a word for it. So what they did, the creators of this have essentially done a factor analysis of the words that describe personality traits and behaviors. And the factor analysis then, after a lot of modifications and so forth, culminated into 5 domains. And I like the acronym OCEAN to talk about these. So with OCEAN, we've got openness to experience, you've got conscientiousness, hard to fit on a page, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Okay? So those are the 5 overriding domains, and then underneath each one are 6 facets that comprise the domains. So for instance, you're not going to be able to see this very well, but you'll see that there's 6 domains for extraversion: friendliness, gregariousness, assertiveness, activity level, excitement seeking, and that last one looks like cheerfulness. Okay? And I should also point out that for each one of these, they're from low, medium to high. So they're all on a continuum. And this can give some rich information. You're going to see the 5-factor model in research a lot. A lot of times it's used as a covariate in research when, even if they're trying to study, say, the effects of cognitive behavioral therapy, they will initially get maybe a 5-factor assessment so they can say, oh, wow, people that are high in extraversion tend to do better in cognitive behavioral therapy groups versus individual. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but see this a lot in different kinds of research. It can also have some counseling potential if we use this. Now, I do find like the Keirsey and the Myers-Briggs type indicator are probably better in helping people understand their strengths and understand where, maybe some shadow sides and areas of their self that they're not utilizing as much, and to really discuss that. In all assessments, nothing can define the person, but all assessments are used to help increase insight, facilitate some conversation, get people to understand who they truly are, because that can get so lost in growing up in society with all the different oppression and rules and pressures to be what maybe that's what you're not meant to be. It's not what your real strengths are. So I do think the 5-factor can serve this as well. It's not just research. And what I like to do is get people engaged in this before they actually take the tests and get the scores. So one thing that can be done is to be able to give them this and to go through each facet of each domain, highlight the things that apply to them, cross through the words that don't really describe them, rank where they would be on each facet from high, medium to low. They can also do that for the overriding domains. Where will you be for extroversion? Where's your guess based on how you know yourself? But if you go through each facet and do that, then it gets them engaged. Then you actually take a test, and I'll provide a link in the comment box of a public domain online test that you can take for 5-factor. Then you can discuss results and see similarities and differences. And this is some rich conversation, which I think ultimately culminates in somebody understanding themselves better. So then they can utilize their strengths to help heal, to thrive, to decide on better career choices, college majors, relationships, interpersonal skills, so forth. So I really think it's a rich instrument for that, and particularly when it's used with other instruments. And if it's done well in a counseling type process, where the client is an active participant in this. They recognize that it doesn't define them. They can ask questions. They validate the test for themselves. Now, there's some good research related to validation of the big five. Okay, so retest reliability looks pretty good, and even over a long period of time. They do say after age 30 that these don't vary much. You don't see a lot of changes after the age 30 in the 5 domains and the facets. And there's a lot of correlation actually between the 5-factor model and, say, the Myers-Briggs type indicators. Naturally, extroversion and extraversion, for instance. So, I think there's a lot of utility clearly for research, which you're already reading in articles, I'm sure, but also for counseling processes. So take a look at it. I'm going to put a link below, maybe a little bit more information. And remember our acronym, OCEAN, for the big five and the 5-factor model. Take care.